right now on Jamaica News Page today. You're looking at the Halfway Tree Transport Center in St. Andrew earlier this morning, as the nation braces for the growing threat of Tropical Storm Melissa, a system that could strengthen into a powerful, destructive hurricane later this week. We've got the very latest on the storm's track and intensity. Plus, preparations are already underway across the island as Melissa inches closer to Jamaica. Jamaica News Page today is powered by viewers like you. Please click subscribe and tap the notification bell to stay informed. Thank you for subscribing. Jamaica News Page today starts right now. We begin with a weather alert this morning. A tropical storm warning is now in effect for Jamaica, and a hurricane watch has been issued as Tropical Storm Melissa slowly drifts across the central Caribbean Sea. This means Jamaica could begin experiencing tropical storm conditions with sustained winds of 63 to 118 kilometers, or 39 to 73 miles per hour within 36 hours, and possibly hurricane-force winds within 48 hours. At 4 a.m., the center of Tropical Storm Melissa was located about 353 kilometers, or 219 miles south-southeast of Morant Point, and approximately 240 miles south-southeast of Kingston. Melissa is moving very slowly west at about 6 kilometers per hour, and forecasters say it could turn toward the northwest or north-northwest over the next couple of days, before shifting west again. Maximum sustained winds are near 85 kilometers, or just about 4 miles per hour, with higher gusts, and the system is expected to strengthen into a hurricane by Friday, continuing to intensify over the weekend. On its current track, Melissa is expected to move closer to Jamaica before veering westward on Saturday, passing over the waters just south of the island. The Meteorological Service warns that moderate to heavy rainfall will begin affecting the island late Thursday afternoon, continuing through Friday and into the weekend. Strong, gusty winds reaching tropical storm strength are expected to develop by Thursday night, beginning in eastern and southern parishes before spreading across the island. By Saturday, hurricane-force winds are possible in sections of eastern Jamaica as Melissa edges closer. Marine interests are being strongly warned. Rough seas, thunderstorms, and tropical storm-force winds are expected through the weekend, with hurricane-strength winds likely offshore by Saturday. All small craft operators and fishers from the quays and banks should already be in port and are urged to complete final safety checks immediately. As the storm threat intensifies, stay with Jamaica News Page for continued updates. Please click subscribe and tap the notification bell to stay informed. Thank you for subscribing. With Tropical Storm Melissa inching closer to Jamaica, the government is moving quickly to strengthen flood defenses across the corporate area, beginning with emergency works along the Sandy Gully.
We really want to ensure that the bridge that spans the gully in the vicinity of Riverton, that it is protected, it is secured. We want to ensure that it has enough free flow in the gully for the water to move from the hills out to sea. And so we are slated to do some work in that space.
Meanwhile, Minister of Local Government and Community Development, Desmond McKenzie, says the ministry has begun to pre-position equipment in vulnerable areas that may require emergency response.
We have pre-positioned relief supplies in various sections of the island. We are also putting emergency equipments and teams in areas that we know are challenging areas. We do have a list of the areas that we need to pay attention to. There are some particular communities in Jamaica that we are concerned about. Those communities know themselves. Rocky Point in Clarendon is one area. Taylorland in the eastern part of the island is another. We have the Duane Park area, New Haven, and several other communities. The Burger Gully, the McGregor Gully are two areas of concerns. Presently, we are undertaking operations in that sections of East Kingston by installing over 1,000 sandbags based on the inspection that was undertaken by the ODPEM along with Minister Morgan's team and the other agencies.
The minister is also appealing to residents of Port Royal to cooperate with the authorities if the need for relocation arises.
I'm making a special appeal to the people in Port Royal. If we are impacted by this event, it is going to be important that the community of Port Royal make arrangements when we provide the requisite transportation for them to be relocated to shelters that they comply. I'll be speaking with the Member of Parliament, Philip Paulwell, because it is an area that is of grave concern to us because we have not been getting the kind of cooperation that is required from the residents in Port Royal whenever there is an event.
The local government minister's appeal has been echoed by Philip Paulwell, Member of Parliament for East Kingston and Port Royal.
Port Royal is low-lying, so it is subject to significant flooding. We pray a lot about Port Royal because we know that many of our people are just not leaving over there. But we are going to make sure that the centers are going to be in place and transportation to have people move to these centers once we can get them to go.
Are there any centers or shelter in Port Royal?
No, because the entire area
Exactly.
is low-lying.
Yeah.
You can't have shelters there, so we have had to move people out. The arena sometimes, Windward Road, primary school. So yes, it is some distance from their homes. So that's why people have been very, very reticent in leaving.
Mayor of Kingston, Andrew Swaby, is urging residents across the corporate area who live in flood-prone areas to exercise vigilance as Melissa inches closer to our island.
While government, and when I say government, I'm also speaking of local authority, has certain responsibility. And their main responsibility right now is to disseminate the information. We all have a personal responsibility. We know where we live. We know what happens in the past. And we should try our best to make sure that doesn't happen again. If the rain is heavy or fall for a prolonged period of time, yes, there might be flooding. But if your area is prone to flooding, probably it's best to go somewhere else during that period or go into a shelter.
Mayor Swaby, who was speaking with journalists on Tuesday, says most drains across the corporate area are in good standing.
We would have conducted our drain cleaning exercise at the beginning of the hurricane season as normal. We always started with the drains on the coastal side of the city, and that has been successful. We believe that a fair amount of them that are in good condition.
And Mayor of Montego Bay, Richard Vernon, says the St. James Municipal Corporation remains in a state of readiness should the storm affect the area.
We have completed our shelter inspection that was earlier this year in June, which was followed by training of our shelter managers. We also alerted our contractors and our suppliers, and we have done replenishing of our stock to ensure that we have enough food supplies and all of that, just in case we have a worsened weather system. Drain cleaning was done last week, and leading up to the weekend, we cleaned the two major gullies, north and south gullies, and the critical drains were also done. We allocated the funding from our parochial revenue fund to deal with the drain cleaning for the rest of the parish, to deal with inlets, outlets of critical drains right across the municipality.
Richard Thompson, Acting Director General of the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, says the agency has already activated its response measures across the island.
We have gone fully into our preparedness mode, and part of the preparedness activity is to have these operational planning meetings, getting information from the parishes as to where they are in terms of their operational preparedness measures, what they are doing in terms of putting shelter managers on standby, putting the parish mechanism on standby, and also the same for the agencies that are member of the National Response Team. So we early doors, but we have started our planning operation.
Meanwhile, Richard Thompson says ODPEM is paying extra attention to certain areas in East Kingston and St. Thomas as it prepares for Melissa.
One of the main ones that we are placing some emphasis on right now is the situation in Burger Gully. That's in East Kingston. That's one of the areas which we have been seeing constant flooding for the past couple of weeks whenever time it rains because of a situation there with the gully. We did a visit today, a multidisciplinary team, to look at what we need to do just to see how best as possible we can alleviate that flooding problem there. Places like Audley Crossing and those areas that we normally have problems whenever there is rainfall activity and there is flooding. And we'll be running scenarios for the other communities that across the island, looking at the at-risk population.
Residents of Bay Road and McNeil Land in Westmoreland are bracing for worsening conditions as Tropical Storm Melissa approaches. Many areas were already flooded from Wednesday's heavy rains. Locals fear the storm could bring severe flooding lasting weeks, with some residents preparing boats for transport. Councillor Ian Miles says cleanup work will begin Thursday, while MP Ian Hales urges residents to follow evacuation orders and prioritize safety as the storm nears. Meteorological Service of Jamaica Principal Director Evan Thompson has warned that while Tropical Storm Melissa is projected to stay just off Jamaica's south coast, there's still a possibility it could make landfall.
So although the best track that we are seeing is suggesting that it will remain off the coast, the worst case is that it could come on land. we could see a landfall of this hurricane. There's the possibility, and I don't want us to close our eyes to that possibility, although that is not what is expected at this time.
That's it for Jamaica News Page, powered by viewers like you. Please click subscribe and tap the notification bell to stay informed. Thank you for watching and subscribing. We'll see you in the comments, and be sure to join us again for more news.